Hi, welcome to Bob Harper Jukebox Amplifier Repairs from Somerset, England. And on the bench today, we've got one that doesn't turn up in the workshop very often. It's a Jupiter amplifier and power supply. Now, I've done a couple of these in the past, many years ago. I think I've done a couple of stereo versions, and I think I've done this very similar mono version. So they're quite a nice sounding amplifier, actually. So it's come in, it's been got at this power supply unit here. Had some incorrect wiring in it and a capacitor that was missing, so someone's had a go at it. So I've replaced the two voltage doubler capacitors there. That can capacitor there is a new one. In the amplifier, that one's a new one. That one there, I've left it, but the new capacitors are underneath the chassis. Valve wise, the two output valves, which should be some 189s, test okay and they seem okay. Two of the other valves, ECC83s, I've replaced, and that one there was okay. We'll have to replace that one and that one. Now, these are really nice sounding amplifiers, which I'll demonstrate in a moment, but a few points about them. It's muted at the moment. I've got the switch just rigged up there to operate the two mute relays. There's one in the amplifier and there's one in the power supply, and they're in series and they've got time delay on them. It's quite an interesting design they've done here, Jupiter. What happens when this amp is in standby, as it is now, when the jukebox is switched on but not playing a record, these valves are partially powered. Heaters are correct, they're all 6.3 all the time, but the bias is ramped up to about -40 on the grids, which cuts these valves off, and also the HT is reduced to the anodes. So about half what it would be normally. When you operate the mute relays, there's a slight time delay between this one and this one, and what it does, it puts the bias back down to about -15 according to the schematic, which it should be, and it puts the plate voltage at about 380, which is too high for EL84. These are some 189s, just about take it. When this amp came to me and I power supply, I tried it. First of all, the plate voltage on these valves was about 420 volts. Why they didn't short out, I don't know, but they seem to have survived it. But I've got a feeling that this amplifier and this power supply are not meant to be together. The problem is there's 4 versions of this amplifier here, and they're all slightly different, and one of them uses 6973 output valves. Now, this isn't that version, but there is obviously something going on between these two power supply and amplifier, because the voltages were all over the place, far too high, and the bias for the output valves was far too high as well. So I've had to do a bit of jiggery pokery and alter the value of a few components to get these HT and the bias within spec of what it says on the schematic, which it is now. That's about all to say on these, but yeah, I think I had this problem before on another one that came in. I had to alter values to get the voltages right, but when they are done, these amplifiers sound absolutely fantastic. Lovely little amplifiers, fantastic bass and treble range on them, which I'll demonstrate in a moment. Yeah, so I know people knock Jupiter, but their amplifiers, they sound absolutely brilliant. Anyway, enough of me waffling on. I'll turn the iPod on. Oh no, I won't. I'll demute it first, and you hear the two relays click in. That one slightly before that one. Put it on. Treble, bass, terrific bass on it. Okay, so I'll stop it and I'll mute it. So yes, what I'll do now, I'll turn the amplifier and the power supply over and have a look at the work I've done underneath. So yeah, it's a bit longer video than usual on this one because I don't really often get one of these amps, and they're quite an interesting, to me anyway, amplifier design. Okay, I'll stop the video now and we'll turn them over. One quick mention before I do turn these both over, if you have a look at. What I don't like about them, they're quite dangerous. I mean, they would never comply with modern standards nowadays. You've got exposed mains voltage, obviously, on those taps there. You've got exposed HT on a couple of these resistors here. You've got exposed fuses here. They're not HT. That one's the HT fuse. But even so, anybody touch these two at the back here, you're going to get a hell of a whack. It's way over 300 volts on them. Anyway, I'll turn it over now. Okay, here we are on the underside. This is the underside, obviously, of the power supply. So replace capacitors, resistors, the underside, all the new caps I fitted there. Had to add that resistor there to correct the HT voltage. Altered the value of that one there for the bias. So that's about it in there. Nothing else to say in the power supply. In the amplifier itself, as you can see, it's a nicely laid out amplifier. It's quite neat. Not a lot to do for me actually in the actual amplifier. Replaced obviously the bottom of the new can there, new electrolytic there in place of the one that's still on top. A couple of new coupling capacitors there. Repaired one of the blades on the mute relay. That's about it in there. Oh, a couple of little capacitors there, but nothing to speak of. Anyway, so that's it. I don't know what coming on the bench next. Probably back to Rockolas or Amis or something, but this one's quite an interesting and one I don't see very often. Okay, thanks a lot for watching.